Welcome to you all for this another video on Waqf Board, Waqf Amendment Bill 2025. And in this video, I want to talk about the bill per se. Before going into it, and I really welcome the Parliament the Parliament discussing the bill for long hours, and was very it was showing the democracy. It was giving a hope that there is still a space for discussion. I really appreciate the NDA government supporting for that and letting the discussion go on. Few people do argue that that is a tokenism, but the bill will pass, and it has been passed as it is. But the point here is the debate which happened in the parliament, or also the record for the future to look into it. And the entire debate was speaking or expressing what the problem is in this amendment bill. And that is the same argument, the second level, where they are approaching the Supreme Court, Honorable Supreme Court, and do contest this bill. So therefore, it is a process. And in that process, a large number of opinion has been expressed in the public debate, in the parliament. And I was, in my opinion, many people, those who supported the bill, in many of the YouTube channels, and they did say that it is a welcoming bill, and it is becoming a secular, it is allowing others to enter. It's a really great bill. There are some problems with that, and they do say that. But one thing which I highly commend is A. Rasa, of Honorable MP from the Nilgiri constituency, and he did a commendable interpretation of the bill, and he has been working day and night. And his opinion was the most important critique of the bill from the angle of the constitution. And he interpreted each and every clause of the bill. And as a law students, I'm doing law. So as a law students, I think it's very important for all of us to look into the interpretation made by R. Rasa on this bill, to understand how integrity of the sentences, how the integrity of the interpretation of the sentences and the act itself can be interpreted, can be studied. So he gave a different view of it, and that is very commendable. And then you know that across India there has been protests. And when I see the protests in UP by Muslims, it gives a hope. Though we are all see that UP is a different land and it's happening, there are so many things happening, but still, when we see in the land of UP, Muslims are protesting, and I think we coming from South India, we have responsibility to also comment on this bill from a legal perspective. So in that legal perspective, I just want to, this is the first video I want to make on this, and I'll make a series of videos. Another video would be on the history of Waqf itself from a social context. So now I want to interpret from the Waqf Amendment Bill 2025 in relation to the Constitution. See, actually, it's an amendment bill, they say. What is amendment according to the Constitution? Amendment is making small changes. But it is not about changing the complete bill. In the sense, changing the complete act of the Waqf Act. But here what has happened is, it has been completely changed. It has changed the complete Waqf Act in the name of amendment. So first problem is that, how did they do it? See, actually there are, in an amendment, in an act, the primary act is to support the main objective of the act itself. Or for example, if it is Waqf, the primary notion of primary background or the primary intention of bringing an act is to support the importance of the Waqf activity. So what is Waqf? Waqf is it's a holy thing related to Islam. In Islam, there are different kinds of services one has to do. For an example, if he has a large number of property, he has to give certain amount to the public, and that becomes that he's surrendering his property for the development of Muslims. And it has been given in the earlier Act of 1995. It says, It says work is created and includes religious, pious, and charitable objects and any other objects of public utility sanctioned by the Muslim law. So it is exclusively Muslims. It's a Muslim, it's exclusively Muslims. If it is not Muslims, they could give the land to the government. Already government is doing some secular activity. In that case, they want to do this for the Muslim law, so Muslim community. And it is part of Islam. It's one of the primary thing for the Muslims to give the land to the development of the Muslim community. And in that case, in Islam, for an example, many people would have seen, they do help when in my area, I come from the Nilgiri district. There in masjids, Friday you find, or during the Ramadan period, they give uh, they give for they give food and help people when when they approach the Muslims during the Ramadan period. And anyone, it is not about only Muslims, they do it for everyone. So that is one of the important act of the Muslims to donate for the religious activities. Because you see, Islam as a religion, you should know one thing for everyone who's involved in this Waqf Amendment Bill. In Islam, the life of a person is to live for the religion. For them, everything is surrounded only by the religion. So for them, the life of a Muslim is to abide by the principle of the Islam to attain the, to attain heaven. So the concept of heaven is a different one. So they say different words. So that is the basic principle of it. So they have to be part of that religious activity, which promotes and supports the fellow Muslims. So for that, they sharing the amount or the land, whatever they have, for the people who do not have. So for that only Waqf land. So in my area, where many Muslims would say Waqf land is a holy land. So when you say holy, it is not secular. So what the government has done, the present amendment bill, is making the land as a secular land. Secular land, what I mean is, they think this land has no significance of any religion activity. It's like any other land. Some people ask me, if it is any other land, they can give this land to anyone, the government or the private person. No, it is in Islam to give this land or the money for the religious activity. What is religious activity? Even making others, helping others is a religious activity. Supporting students is a religious activity. It is not a secular activity. It's a very religious activity. In that case, Waqf Act amendment, Waqf land is a holy land exclusively for the Muslim activity, and the 1995 Act does say it's a Muslim law, according to the Muslim law. So that is one. Second thing, so therefore, the primary foundation of this act itself cannot stay if one establishes that Waqf is a holy land exclusively given for the Muslims' activity, religious activity. So in that case, it's a religious activity, it's a religious land. So therefore, that land cannot be made into a secular land. So this act makes into a secular, which is going against the religion itself. That is one. Second thing is, this actually, the second thing is another issue. Fundamental mistake they have done in this bill is, they also say who can give the land. So I read section 3, 9, clause R, A, in the opening portion for the word any person, earlier it was any person can give, of any movable or immovable property. This was the earlier sentences. Now they have changed any person showing or demonstrating that he is practicing Islam for at least 5 years, of any movable or immovable property, having ownership of such property, and that there is no contrivance involved in the dedication of such property shall be substituted. See, the fundamental problem here is, if you read this, It says any person showing or demonstrating that he is practicing Islam for at least 5 years. So this is about you on the face value. When somebody sees this, it shows that it is about the person who's embracing Islam, and it is about him giving the land. If you see that, but no, it says it's who is a practicing Muslim for 5 years. Now, this is going against the customs, Islam custom and family law of Islam, Muslim family law. What is a Muslim? In Islam, who is a Muslim? Whomever says kalima without even a record comes later. Whomever says the kalima, he becomes a Muslim immediately. That is the religious text. So that is a custom, and that's a family law, and that is binding with the law of the Islam. In that case, what you are saying is you are bringing a law that 5 years, that document, you are bringing a document proof. See, Islam is a religion, does not believe much in the documents. It's about belief and trust. So that is why somebody says that kalima, he narrates that verses, immediately becomes a Muslim. It is not about whether he practices Muslim, or so-called, or not practicing Muslim, or 5 years Muslim, whether he does namaz 5 times, doesn't matter. One who accepts Islam, he becomes a Muslim automatically, immediately. So now when they say 5 years period, this is questioning the Muslim identity itself. So they mean to say 5 years who are practicing Muslim. This goes fundamentally opposing to what is Muslims in the family law itself or in the custom, that area. So therefore, this is second part which demolishes the complete bill. It says that it's completely, it questions who is a Muslim. It questions, it secularizes the land. These two fundamental issues are major problem in this bill. So based on this, if we could establish that, someone can establish that, those who are going to the court, somebody could establish that who is a Muslim is fundamentally wrong, theologically wrong, then this does not stay. It cannot be a secular. Then the third thing is, see, there are many issues, and if people are watching this, and if you want to go detail to know about this, you should watch R. Asa's video, which are available on the internet, that he spoke in the parliament. So now they make sure, the present amendment makes sure that nobody gives the bill, nobody gives the land to work. So for example, no person, this is for section 5, 3A, no person shall create a work unless he is the lawful owner of the property and competent to transfer or dedicate such property. It means to say that unless he is the owner of the property, it means that another person came and gave the land of somebody's land to the work, which is logical. So these all things are basically to say that, because the second clause they bring is very important. It is not about this one. The second, they say creation of a work al-udulha shall not result in denial of inheritance rights of heir, including women heir, of the work if or any other rights of the person with the lawful claims. So therefore, they bringing disputes for the land, which can be. The major part is that. So the many points of this has been debated. The same thing has been debated by R. Asa in the parliament debate, and you can watch that one. So, but there is another very serious problem in this bill, which we have to note it. There is a problem that, yeah, the serious problem comes here. See, one level is this government, the amendment says, we are bringing a committee to formalize all the lands which are there. But actually this amendment can be divided. I do not know whether an amendment can be in this. It's like some portions, it's like an order. You have to do this. Okay, where does it say? It says any government, it's a rather than order, I would say the Kap Panchayat behavior. Any government property identified or declared as work property before or after the commencement of the act shall not be deemed to be a work property. It says government and the work has a dispute, land dispute. Such lands belongs to the government. How did they arrive at? Then if you arrived already, you demanded and you said, there is no more dispute. Every land is a government land hereafter. Then past and present. So now the question is, why do you have a committee? Why do you have a judiciary? In any law, you cannot say without even inquiry, proper justice. Even in the court of law, there should be justice. Even before delivered, you have to inquire. You have to bring a reasonable. There should not be there should be reason to it. So this clause goes against it. This is like a Ka Panchayat order. So one section of the act is a Ka Panchayat order. Another section of the act tells who should be a Muslim, who should not be a Muslim. So another section says like an RTA, Right to Information Act. The government could have asked the state government or the amendment instead of putting this RTA question here. Where does it say? It says provide all the details. See, the details of the work. This is section 5, 2. The details of the work under subsection, amongst other information, shall include information they should include. Okay. A, identification boundaries of work properties they use and occupier. So this is what's very funny. They're asking about who's the user. They should tell them. Okay. This is like an RTA question. Name and address of the creator. I'm asking an RTA. Who's the creator? Work, mode, and date of such creation. See, how is this possible? The work has been there since the 19th century. And you are going to the 19th century. That is created officially. But before 19th century itself, there were many lands which have been given. So how can you ask the land record for that? I hope this land record been asked to other religious structures also. So anyway, then the deed of the work, if available, the present mutawali, the gross annual income for such work properties. So it's asking everything of this. It's a RTA actually. The amount of land revenue, cess, rates, tax, actually, an estimate of the expenses. So this is like RTA questions. The salary of the mutawalli, allowances, your religious purpose, details of the court cases, if any. These all things are RTA questions they are putting in an amendment. That's very surprising. And then any government property identified or declared as work property before or after the commencement of this act shall not be deemed as a work property. So they said that, okay, no more. So this is like a Ka Panchayat order. This is an order, no inquiry, no nothing. Suo moto, everything has been declared that government takes over all the land. So then why are you having a committee? And later you say that you have 10 members of committee or 11 members of committee to inquire into it. And you say there's a tribunal, you can go to the court of law. So it's like a smoke screen, it looks like. So then any declaration 3D of 5, section 5, any declaration or notification issued under this act or under any previous act in respect of work property shall be void. If such property was a protected monument or protected area under the Ancient Monument Preservations Act, Archaeological Sites and Remains Act at the time of same declarations. So these are the important sections I want to bring it to the public, and other things that goes on. But I just want to focus on the fundamental problem with this amendment. That first thing is the spirit of the amendment is to change for improvement of the earlier acts. But this is completely nullifying the earlier act, judgments, everything, and brings a new law in the name of amendment. How do they do it? They make sure that no lands are being given, and they question who's a Muslim, and they secularize this land. That's a very fundamental thing. They cannot secularize the land. It's a religious land. So now, let us see the background. Many have spoken, but we need to see the background. For eating, Muslims are attacked. And you see, every day YouTube videos, Facebook videos, you find Muslims being attacked in the name of religion, for their attire, having beard. And NRC, CAA, focusing their, questioning their identity itself. And then you have this cow slaughter in the name of cow trade. They have been killed. So, and love jihad in the name of marrying somebody. So, and demolishing masjids in the name of festivals, particular religious festival. In that gathering, there are videos circulating. And masjids in this land are protected by green color screen. And so the entire identity is questioned. And now what they're doing is they're trying to remove the entire empowerment activity a community has, empowering themselves through these work properties. How do they empower? They educate. Education, free education they provide for the community. And that is a community space where all of them they gather for masjid, namaz, they interact. Schools and colleges are constructed in that land. Empowerment activities are being done on that land. For an example, if there is one particular area, if there is a work land, in that work land is the area which promotes and develops and focuses on the improvement of that community. Now, if you remove that land, if you remove that masjid from that land, they don't have any space to organize themselves, interact themselves, community, becoming a community among feeling oneself. So that is a primary thing is being indirectly, or for those who know it is directly doing it. But many of us believe they're doing it indirectly. No, they're doing it very directly. So therefore, and there is another interesting aspect of this work historical context actually. Historical context of work in small, simple lines, sentences. There is an article written by Singh. Important background of the work is Muslims wanted to protect their land. So therefore, they provided work was created to protect the Muslims' land being taken over by the caste Hindus in the north. So there is an article exclusively special article on this particular area. So after reading that and bill, and one thing amazing is if you read this amendment, it looks like this. But if you go for the JPC, Joint Parliament Committee's report, 1,000 pages report, in that report itself, it says exactly opposite to this amendment. 1,000 pages. And if you want, as a law student, you have to read that 1,000 pages report and this amendment and the discussions, what has happened behind the screen, behind this debate, online medias, news channels, YouTube channels, and public political parties debates. So I think that's all very important for a law student and also for a common person. For a common person, you should know that a land of religious land has been converted into a secular land. In my area, there is this school, a religious school, particular, not Muslims. There is a religious school. Their area of focus would be asking them to join the school. Admissions are open. You come, you join, you and go. That's their activity of religion, okay? But in Islam, that is not the case. That's why this lands are many people see this land as a very important heart of the religion. Why? Because I go to the land not only to study, interact. They call me. We meet on Friday. We meet every day we meet. 5 times we meet, or at least 3 times we meet. And we discuss our issues. And when there is an issue, personal, family, and also financial and medical, for all people discuss. And this is a place of community building. And that is why they say it's a holy land. And it is not about come, educate, and go. No, it is not like it's a responsibility. No, it is not. They don't do it like a responsibility. No, it is a religious activity. A religious activity is going deeper than the responsibility. In other lands, other religious lands are more or less not even a responsibility. You come, you study, you pass, you don't pass, you don't pass. There's no special attention, but here there is a special attention for the community building. So that is why these lands are holy land, Muslims say. And I too believe that. And a common person should try to understand from that perspective. If one understands that perspective, then this amendment itself do not have water in it. Don't say water. Yeah. So thank you. I'll come back with another next video with this in a detailed study of JPC's Joint Parliament Committee's bill on this work, and then the article of the work. So until then, bye.